You must have noticed that the kind of videos you watched when you had just discovered pornography or masturbation were fairly different from the ones that you currently watch. Back then, regular, vanilla, sexual stimulus was more than enough to get you aroused. However, as time goes by, your brain gets desensitized to the regular vanilla stimulus and no longer finds it as pleasurable as it once did. This desensitization causes you to now seek out novel and more intense content. The stage where you've developed fetishes that are strange and you're not too proud of them. Here's what one study consisting of more than 6,000 Polish students found. The most common self-perceived adverse effects of pornography use included the need for longer stimulation to reach orgasm and a decrease in overall sexual satisfaction. The same study also shows the various changes in pattern of pornography use that occurred during the course of the exposure period. 46% of people switched to a novel genre of explicit material. 60% made use of materials that do not even match their sexual orientation. And 32% used more extreme, violent material. It seems to be inevitable that porn consumption leads to development of fetishes or porn escalation, even in those who view it infrequently. Before we approach the solution to this problem of porn-induced fetishes, let's understand what is going on from a neuroscience perspective. Your brain has this unique ability to rewire itself based on what you're exposed to and your actions in the outside world. This ability is called neuroplasticity. Now, neuroplasticity is essential to us humans. It is what has allowed you to learn math, get better at soccer, learn a language, and so much more. Basically, all processes of learning or getting better at things are due to neuroplasticity. It could also lead your brain to rewire in an undesirable fashion, such as in the case of developing fetishes or being desensitized to regular sexual stimulus. But the good news is, just how you have rewired your brain to be aroused by these fetishes, you can rewire your brain back to its factory settings thanks to neuroplasticity. And in this video, I'm going to show you how certain protocols can promote neuroplasticity and accelerate this process of a factory reset. So let's get right into them. The very first thing that is required is to stop all further exposure to pornography. You need to now stop providing any more stimulus to your brain that is rewiring it in a negative way. If you're someone that is currently still relapsing to porn every week or so, then it is going to be impossible for you to give up these porn-induced fetishes because you're constantly reinforcing them. Do check out some of my other videos on my channel where I describe in detail about my systems to quitting porn and never relapsing again. The second set of foundational tools that you need are optimized diet, optimized sleep, and exercise. All three of them are absolutely essential for neuroplasticity, and compromising on even one of them is going to massively slow down your recovery. So how exactly does your diet contribute to neuroplasticity? If you're someone who eats processed foods like candy, burgers, chips, soda, then you're causing a lot of systemic inflammation, and this greatly slows down neuroplasticity. What I would highly recommend is that you cut off all processed food from your diet and replace it with whole, natural, single ingredient foods like meat, fish, fruits, vegetables, whole grain, dates, honey, etc. Secondly, neuroplasticity depends on the ability of neurons, which is a nerve cell, to communicate and form synapses, which is like a junction between two nerve cells. And certain nutrients directly support this connection formation. Nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, which are found in fish and walnuts, but you can also get them in supplement form. There's plenty of research on how they support synaptic flexibility and communication. If I were to cover all the key processes that happen during your sleep which promote neuroplasticity, then it would probably take me hours. So I'm just going to touch on one such process in order to give you appreciation for just how important optimizing your sleep is for your recovery. The process is the activation of your glymphatic system. In simple terms, when you're awake and doing things, your brain is active, it's learning and burning away energy. While this happens, there's a lot of metabolic waste and toxins being produced. During deep sleep, the brain goes into sort of a power wash. There's something called cerebrospinal fluid that flows through the brain tissue and it removes all this metabolic waste and toxins. But if your sleep is compromised multiple times a week, then these toxins are going to accumulate and they're going to block neuroplasticity, thus greatly slowing down your recovery. I would highly recommend that you prioritize your sleep, especially during your recovery. Fix a regular bedtime, get early morning sunlight, avoid bright lights close to bedtime, and eat your meals at regular scheduled times only. Because all of these things are vital for you to have a good quality of sleep. In the previous segment, we spoke about the foundation for recovery: your sleep, your diet, and exercise. If you get the foundation right, you are going to eventually get rid of these porn-induced fetishes thanks to neuroplasticity. However, this recovery process could take quite a while. It could take anywhere from a few months to even a few years, depending upon your history of porn use and the volume of porn consumption. The good news is that you can significantly accelerate your recovery by following certain protocols. In my experience working with porn addicts, you can recover 3 to 5 times faster by incorporating intermittent fasting or a fasting mimicking diet like the ketogenic diet. The reason why intermittent fasting, which is the process of not eating food for a period of time, is so effective for recovery is because it is shown to massively promote neuroplasticity in several ways. When your body is deprived of food for a particular duration of time, then it starts cleaning up damaged and dysfunctional cells to recycle them into usable building blocks, and this is known as autophagy. Autophagy is evolutionary. Our ancestors, the hunter-gatherers, they didn't eat 3 to 6 times a day. They went on periods without eating food were normal, so the body developed a survival mechanism. When it had no external energy coming in, then it recycled internal waste to survive. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to rewire itself. Autophagy is the brain's ability to clean itself. They work together in powerful ways. Secondly, fasting also promotes something called neurogenesis, which is the creation of new neuron or nerve cells. So not only are you getting rid of old dysfunctional cells, but you're also generating new healthy functioning cells, and this too helps promote neuroplasticity. Lastly, fasting increases neuroplasticity largely because it raises levels of BDNF, which stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is a protein that helps brain cells grow, form new connections, and strengthen existing ones. Higher BDNF makes it easier for the brain to learn, to form new habits, and to change old patterns and behaviors. It is almost like giving the brain the fertilizer for rewiring. Learning is a principle in neuroscience that states that if two neurons are repeatedly activated at the same time, then the connection between them is strengthened. Think about this. A fetish was formed exactly that way. You watch something on the screen while orgasming, and you've done that repeatedly. Now a connection has been formed. That thing has now been linked to arousal. What fasting does is it basically eliminates old dysfunctional connections and neurons via autophagy. It creates new neurons and new connections via neurogenesis and increased BDNF production. And it is my hypothesis, based on working with dozens of porn addicts, that these processes make it significantly easier to get rid of porn-induced fetishes. Hey, my name is Jibreal Khan, and I've helped dozens of men overcome porn addiction using tried and tested systems based on neuroscience and behavioral psychology. The best part is that these systems do not rely on willpower, which is a fleeting resource and it is bound to fade away in the long run. Some of the people that I've worked with have been addicted to pornography for as long as 20 years and could barely go a week without porn. So if you would like to work one-on-one with me to overcome porn addiction, then make sure that you click on the link in the description and book a call with me. This call can be completely anonymous if you prefer.